Welcome to the pre-match show presented by the Brian Burt's Home Selling Team. Score the best deal on a home with the Brian Burt's Home Selling Team. Visit brianburts.com or call 915-751-1500.
It's been nearly a month since Locomotive was playing here at Southwest University Park. July was not kind to the Locos, and they need to turn that around tonight. El Paso Locomotive FC versus Indy 11 coming up. Good evening. Duke Keith along with Colin Deaver here at Southwest University Park inside the broadcast booth. We'll be speaking to Rachel Phillips a little bit later on. It's been a month, July 22nd,
Where's
Colin.
the time gone?
Right? Since we were here together at Southwest University Park. Locomotive at that time lost a 3-1 match to Oakland. Their home record had not been the best, but they were undefeated on the road. That is no longer the case.
Yeah, that has completely flipped. 3 consecutive losses on the road, and they've all been pretty embarrassing. 17-3 the scoreline in those losses. They've been shut out in the last 2, so not the way that they've wanted things to go in the month of July and August. Some injuries weighing into that as well, but there's still plenty of time to turn things around for Brian Clarehout's bunch. We'll get into that, but the excitement tonight, Duke, I think for some fans is the return of former head coach and technical director Mark Lowry, plus a couple of other former Locomotive players with this Indy 11 bunch.
I think so, and certainly they're going to get the salute from Eighth Notch. We'll find out what kind of salute. Colin Lowry's Indy 11 playing well right now, sitting 6th in the East with back-to-back wins. And in the West, El Paso just above the playoff line. San Antonio and Sacramento at the top like they have been most of the season, but look at 3 through 8. Very tight conference, and all it takes is one team going on a streak.
Yeah, I don't really think it's a must-win just yet for El Paso, but they need to turn things around before every match the rest of the way, Duke, is a must-win. Head coach Brian Clarehout knows just how good his team can be, and while there's no magic fix, it's going to come through hard work.
To get back to your question, Colin, that's the most frustrating thing, because a few weeks ago we were a top defensive team. Now it's the opposite, so that's my biggest frustration. So the fix is you gotta clean up the back. We got to be tight defensively, and then we can take it from there.
The focus this week in training was on defense. El Paso has conceded 14 goals in the last 3 losses on the road, so it needs to start on the defensive side for them to turn it around. They did lose center back Bence Pakovic to a buyout clause in his contract, so he is now playing for a team in his native Hungary. That is a huge loss. Team captain Yuma is back. He needs to find his form along with Jose Carrillo and Eric McHugh in the middle. The mood amongst the team, Duke, according to defender Mark Novato, still remains to play for each other and the fans, so look for the defense to set the tone tonight.
To your point, Colin, the defense needs to be up to the task this evening. Indy features 2 very decorated players on the attack who've been doing it consistently for a very long time. Aiden Quinn, Solomon Asante. You know those names, don't you?
I do.
Earlier this month became the first players ever in USL Championship to reach 50 career goals and 50 career assists.
And you can't forget about Sebastian Guinzotti, historically one of the best goal scorers in USL Championship for Tampa Bay Rowdies. The Indy attack will put some pressure on El Paso, but their defense has also been strong with back-to-back clean sheets. El Paso, on the other hand, has not scored in their last 2 matches, so tonight you have a team coming in hot and a team looking to get back on track. El Paso needs to put on a full 90-minute performance in this one, Duke.
Definitely shaping up to be a big win. Locomotive FC looking to break their winless streak. It's the return of Mark Lowry. It's interconference action tonight. It's Locomotive FC versus Indy 11 next.
Southwest Chiropractic, serving El Paso area and relieving pain for more than 20 years. Not only do we treat auto, sports, and work-related injuries, but we also treat scoliosis, sciatica, back pain, disc injuries, chronic pain treatment, and we even manage stress. At Southwest Chiropractic, our patients are seen the same day. We provide gentle and effective care, and we accept most insurances. Schedule your appointment today and let us relieve your pain. With 3 convenient locations in El Paso, Southwest Chiropractic. Your health is our well-being. Call us today, 915-581-9619.
Welcome to Southwest University Park here in downtown El Paso. Duke Keith and Colin Deaver with you. Rachel Phillips is pitch side as we are just about ready to get things started. Mark Lowry and Indy 11 here versus El Paso as we take a look at Locomotive's starting lineup. We should note, no Lucho Solignac tonight. He is pretty much exhausted and dealing with injuries, as well as Eder Borelli. Colin.
Yeah, unfortunately for Lucho Solignac, just so exhausted from all the matches he's had to play. That is a blow to Locomotive. Without their leading goal scorer, they have not scored a goal in over 255 minutes. Borelli out with a calf injury, no Yuma as well. For
Indy 11, some recognizable names starting for Mark Lowry's Indy 11 squad. Sebastian Velasquez on the pitch to start. Mishak Jerome is on the bench. Former Locomotive players, the both of them, and of course Solomon Asante, kind of key to that Indy attack.
Yeah, not scoring as many goals as we saw him score when he was with Phoenix, the 2019 and 2020 USL MVP, but he does have 5 assists, including 3 against Birmingham, I believe, a couple weeks ago, so he has been pretty fantastic for them this year for Indy 11.
Solomon Asante will get things started with the kick here tonight. We are underway from Southwest University Park. Indy 11, as you remember, Mark Lowry, and the way he likes to play will be very deliberate, but move the ball well. They are number 1 in the league in terms of passes total. Number 3 right now, number 1 in terms of passing accuracies, Locomotive FC. Indy 11, 3rd in the league in accuracy.
Yeah, always a attractive brand of football that Mark Lowry played when he was here as the head coach of El Paso from 2019 to 2021. They had some ups and downs a season ago in his first year with Indy 11, but Duke, they're finding their stride a little bit, rising to 6th in the Eastern Conference standings with about 10 or 11 matches left for them. So we could be seeing Indy 11 once again making a playoff run like Mark Lowry made here in El Paso.
Of course, the 2019 season started much the same for Locomotive. A slow start followed by a rapid ascent near the end of the season. Mark Lowry knows how to play the playoff game. That is for sure. And that'll be a foul on Liam Rose. Sebastian Velasquez deposited.
Of course, Seba Velasquez has had a couple different stints here in El Paso in 2019 and then from 2021 to 2022. Duke, I don't know if you'll find a player that doesn't play for Locomotive FC that is as beloved as Velasquez is by this fan base. So he was getting lots of hugs and handshakes when he went back to the locker room a couple minutes ago.
Vinny Diaz will run that down, the long ball up the left wing. I don't think there was a player for Locomotive who embodied this city's spirit more during the 2019 Walmart tragedy than Seba Velasquez, and plenty of the Locomotive teammates were a part of that as well, but just key in embracing the El Paso soccer community and absolutely beloved. Did an outstanding piece with Kalen Carr for MLS Soccer on what happened in the aftermath of that tragedy in 2019.
Yeah, he befriended one of the soccer team that was outside of the Walmart EP Fusion, still keeps in touch with some of the girls, still keeps in touch with a couple of the coaches. It's 4 years later, a little over 4 years later now, so really cool to see how that transpired in the wake of the tragedy.
Asante dumped in by Rose, and that allows the turnover. Locomotive will have to work it around. Mark Navarro will go to the back. Jose Carrillo. Locomotive with possession. Petrovic. Little give and go. Locomotive would love to have the first goal tonight rather than be playing from behind. And here is Velasquez.
Of course, this is a beleaguered back line for El Paso Locomotive FC, losing Bence Pakovic to a team in Hungary as we went over in the Open. No Yuma, and so really this bunch, Eric McHugh, almost the veteran of the unit at this point, and it's one of his first seasons played in the USL. So they unfortunately have not been up to snuff the last couple of weeks, and that's kind of where this starts for El Paso in terms of turning this around.
Sprayed wide. It's a good keep, but not enough. Let's head to keys to the game. Your Casa Ford keys to the game, Colin.
Yeah, of course, be okay without having possession of the football. As we mentioned, Mark Lowry loves to play that possession style of play, so have to be okay with that. Defensive spacing will be key again. Giving up 5 goals in the last match on the road against Phoenix last week was not how they wanted things to go, so that has to be better. And then attacking with some discipline. They conceded in Phoenix by playing high and trying to equalize. We've said it before, but if Locomotive scores early, then the game is completely different for Brian Clarehout's bunch. So if they can do that, they may be able to change the tide a little bit.
Indy 11 dealing with some knocks as well. Udall, King. Maka King is out. Another former Locomotive player.
And Mishak Jerome and Brian Rebellon, former Locos, available off the bench for Indy 11.
Knocked out for an Indy throw. Well, Mark Lowry certainly had his share of success here in El Paso. Western Conference Finals in his first 2 seasons. Locomotive not able to advance past that, but getting there their very first season, the inaugural year for Locomotive Soccer, quite the impressive achievement. And that'll be a rough tangle, but a foul on Locomotive. As Liam McHugh slow to get up with Guinzotti. Of course, the year after COVID, 2021, as that goes out. Locomotive in the regular season set records right and left, but dumped in the first round by a determined Oakland Roots team.
Yeah, I think that 2021 team was probably the best that we've seen here in El Paso from Locomotive FC, but in a 1-game playoff like that, anything can happen. Unfortunately for El Paso, it did happen. So,
well, Solomon Asante knows a little bit about that. Phoenix Rising, league MVP for 2 years. Rising had that amazing season in 2020 or 2019, the first year of Locomotive Soccer. As the foul dumped on the ice, Adrian, or dumped on the turf, Adrian Despay. But that season, Rising got put out by the eventual champions, Real Monarchs.
Of course, who beat El Paso in a double overtime, extra time game, that is. So,
amazing.
It's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. There was some Jack Blake, who's playing tonight for Indy 11, was on that Real Monarchs team as well. So,
indeed, big outlet. It's Blake, speaking of, trying to run that one down, but again, too long. You saw Blake trying to run things down. Of course, Indy 11 plays on a larger surface than El Paso here at Southwest University Park. And that is a foul. We'll see how things transpire, but direct kick coming for Indy 11. We'll see how this goes. The foul on Ricardo Zacarias, one of those players who'll be needing to step up along with Dennis Kostishin in the absence of Lucho Solignac. Petrovic in the starting lineup. It's been different since he's come back from his injury. Locomotive just looking for something offensively. But a set piece here for Indy 11. Whipped in, all the way through. Trying to touch it down. Benny Diaz did enough to get in the way of Robbie Dambrot. But it is a corner kick. No, it's a goal kick. Let's see. It is a corner. Diaz trying to plead his case, but out off of the keeper.
Pretty fortunate there for Locomotive. Dambrot, somehow did. Watching the replay, I don't know how this didn't get into the back of the net. Doesn't look like Diaz got much of a touch on it, maybe just a little.
I think McHugh may have gotten the bottom of his shoe to that and just set it off. But here's a whipped-in corner. Asante redirects, and it's flicked off of Locomotive. We'll do it from the same spot. Quick corner here. Lofted over. Easy grab for the US. Off the try by Aiden Quinn. Long ball out of the back and ready to run under it. Dennis Kostishin, too long though from Benny Diaz. It is a smaller pitch, as we pointed out. Dennis Kostishin running things down, at least not as wide, and Rachel Phillips with more on that. Rachel, Brian Clairhout, I think, helped by that effect as he looks to get this team back to winning ways.
Yeah, certainly a bit of a help there for the Locos, because they played at RGV and Miami, where they're much wider pitches, and it really allows the offense to find more space against the Locos, which has really hurt them. Look, Brian Clairhout said, and as we've been saying all pre-game, that the key to turning things around is really going to be on the defense. Stopping those few set plays just a moment ago, a massive boost of confidence for this defense here, and that's really what they were working on all week. Head coach Brian Clairhout said, quote, "It's important to break the streak. I thought we'd break it a lot quicker than this. It's important to come out, grind, be tight defensively, be organized, not concede too much space defensively, and make plays." Clairhout spoke about just how similar this season is to last season under head coach John Hutchinson, where they lost the first few, went on a great unbeaten streak, and then the last few, well, it just went downhill from there, and they didn't make the playoffs. It's a very similar thing to what Brian Clairhout is facing right now, but he wants to make sure this team makes the playoffs. After conceding 17 goals in their last 4 games, the Locos looking to shore up their defense tonight, and hopefully that'll create some opportunities for the attack.
Thanks very much, Rachel. Good turn here. That is off the hand of Zacarias. Tried to make that turn as we hit the 11th minute. Locomotive starting to show some signs of offensive life.
And to kind of piggyback off of what Rachel was saying just a second ago, if you can get a victory tonight, all you need is one, and then it can snowball again. I mean, that's what it took in Louisville. Just lose 3 games early in the season to start out. Things are not looking great. All of a sudden, you get a win.
Turnover.
Here we go.
Indeed, and it's just wide. Looking for contact. Calvillo had to be covered by Callan Chapman-Page, but did enough. And the El Salvador International disagrees with the referee. Thinks it should at least be a corner kick as we watch the replay. Did that get touched at all? So it's a goal kick.
Might get a better look here. Yeah, I think it did go off the cleat there.
It looked like it was redirected. Gerald Flores and the linesman disagree. And here comes Indy 11 the other way. It's lifted off of Mark Navarro. Trying to push that one in was Dambrot.
Duke, when things aren't going well for you, I feel like that's almost the epitome of it. I mean, that is a game, that is a shot for Calvillo. When things are going your way, he easily deposits it in the back of the net. When it's not going your way, 9 winless, that type of thing happens.
The US will let that one go wide. Got it into the middle for Cam Lindley. So many familiar USL names on this Indy 11 roster. You look down and say, oh, he played here, he played there. It's a good turn on the right.
Yeah, we were joking before the game that didn't even have to do any research for this match. I mean, I know all the
we know these names.
Know all the names, yeah. Joking. Did some
Right.
research. Did a little bit of research.
A little bit of research. Gerald Flores standing in the way of that attempted cross by Gomez, so it'll be a dropped ball for Locomotive. Kostishin. Navarro. If there's been one bright spot for Locomotive, I think it's been the play of Mark Navarro, continuing to deliver quality balls in. They've needed some of those long-range balls to get over the top of defenses. The Spaniard has been a stalwart and delivers another quality ball to Gomez in the box, fires it just wide. But Locomotive starting to ask some of those questions anyway.
Speak of the devil, he shall appear. Mark Navarro, as Duke was talking about it, depositing one of those balls over the top. Gomez, who I believe scored the last goal for El Paso way back in the RGV game, the 16th minute of that game at RGV a few weeks ago on July 29th, nearly giving them the lead there. So, as you said, Duke, they're starting to work their way into the match just a little bit.
Indy back with the possession. There's Guenzati, makes the turn, and Asante, beautiful ball. Up to the right, the service to the far post, grabbed by the US. Good work. Yunus Budati up that right wing side, and a beautiful, beautiful pass through the defense by Asante. As we pointed out, not scoring the goals he scored with Phoenix, but 5 assists on the season puts him at 50 plus. Now he and Aiden Quinn, both teammates with 50 goals, 50 assists. That's very exclusive company in the USL Championship, and both there in recent weeks.
Yeah, it became the first 2 players in USL Championship history, Duke, to both reach 50 regular season goals and 50 regular season assists. I mean, pairing those guys together, pretty impressive.
It's amazing.
And Quinn is also the USL's leader in regular season minutes played. He achieved that against Tampa Bay back on July 22nd. So a couple of guys that have really been faces of the league over the last few years and now playing together in Indy. I think Asante has lost a little bit of a step from what he was in Phoenix a couple of years ago, but he still can go, no doubt.
Oh, you watch the quality of his service. That 4-0 win over Birmingham. Or Birmingham. I'm doing the Mark Lowry pronunciation of
That's
that.
what he would say, yeah.
Yes.
In his mind, you said it correctly.
Yeah, right. In Mark Lowry's mind, I said it just like a Brummie would. But, yeah, the beautiful, beautiful assists to Guenzati, who had his brace on Asante's delivery. That man can put a ball where it needs to go. Let's send it down to Rachel Phillips for more on coaches' reactions on the pitch. How is the mood pitch side, Rachel?
Yeah, well, guys, just interestingly enough, Aaron Gomez, when he took that shot, the entire bench, including Brian Clairhart, all clapping him for that effort.
Here's a good one for Zacarias, taken down, last-ditch tackle. That's a big spill at the edge of the box, but away from the action. Gomez pleading the case, but important intervention by Adrian Dispe to keep Zacarias from firing that one. The Las Cruzen was setting up, and Dispe is a little the worse for wear.
Yeah, and that one Duke had Brian Clairhart with his arms up in the air. He was also with Aaron Gomez there questioning whether something should come from it. But no, they were all clapping when Aaron Gomez took that shot. Obviously, nice to see guys taking shots right now, especially when they need it. But the thing that this team has been missing for a lot of the season, and especially these last few weeks, is making the most of their opportunities and being more threatening. We saw Gomez with that shot. We saw Eric Cavillo with a wide open net just moments before that. The Locos coming into this game have taken 298 shots and have 29 goals to show for it, which means they're converting on just more than 10% of their total shots taken. Los Locos have been held scoreless in their past 2 matches, even though they've taken 21 shots with 6 on target in those 2 games. So key tonight is really just capitalizing on those opportunities. We've seen 2 already and no goals to show for it.
So we see the Locomotive bench. Dispe not feeling well. The Cuban coming from FC Tulsa.
Scored the game winner for them last week. A 1-0 win at Miami. Mark Lowry actually spoke about him post-game, Dispe, about staying ready. You know, he's kind of been in the lineup for them quite a bit in recent weeks. He came off the bench because of a short week. They played on Wednesday, and then Saturday did Indy 11. And just the idea of staying ready, that's exactly what Dispe did. And coming on in the 50th, I think at halftime, and then scoring in the winning goal in the 51st minute. Good to see him up and walking.
That is a good sign. Member of the Cuban national team early in his career before he defected to the United States. 13 caps between 2012 and 2015. Played in Portland Timbers 2, Switchbacks FC. As there we see Brian Clairhart talking things over with John Burklow.
Of course, Brian had to miss last week's match after getting a red card.
Returning from red card suspension.
And he was allowed to be up top. He couldn't be down on the pitch, but he was allowed to watch from up top. He said he thought the first 30 minutes versus Phoenix were okay in terms of their structure, how they were doing things, and obviously things changed from there, but he did like the first 30 minutes from his vantage point.
Here is Velasquez on the turnover. Velasquez taking it to the byline, rolls it across. It's going to be stopped by McHugh, who was upset that ball came to him with Guinzotti, who just missed. Golden opportunity for Guinzotti in front of the goal mouth.
Seen Velasquez do that a few times here at Southwest University Park. Getting by Navarro. If Guinzotti had been able to put a foot on it, we were probably looking at a 1-0 scoreline.
It's a good angle. It will be a corner. Aiden Quinn to take it. The San Diegan. A little too close to Benny Diaz. Always looking to make that outlet, and he'll do that here. Trucking to get that one is Kostishin. No foul called. Rolled out for a throw-in.
Probably the right no call there. I appreciate the effort, Dennis.
Sure. Trying to draw the contact, certainly. He knew he didn't have the wheels to make it all the way down, but
when you're mired in a slump like this, you have to try things. You have to do anything you can to try to get an edge.
Here is McHugh. As you pointed out at the beginning of the season, he was the third center back. Pressed into service. And it's interesting, with the addition of Jose Carrillo, you thought Locomotive finally had depth at a position where they had really very little over the last couple of seasons, and then all of a sudden, Popkovic has his buyout clause reached. He's gone. Yuma's injured, and we're back to where we started.
Yeah, it turned into one of the deepest parts of the team to probably the most...
All the way to the far post and in! What service! Mark Navarro! All the way to Calvillo, waiting on the far post. Locomotive has its opening goal, and the first in a long, long time. The drought is over. On the stroke of the 21st minute, Locomotive taking a 1-0 lead. And what did we tell you about the leg of the Spaniard?
Right on target to Eric Calvillo. First goal since July 29th, the 16th minute of that defeat on the road at Rio Grande Valley. And you can tell what it means to these guys. They want this streak to end more than anybody here in this stadium this evening. Eric Calvillo. Is that for Enzo? I think that one was for Enzo.
I think that one was for Enzo. Rock that baby. Outstanding. Head down to Rachel Phillips, and I imagine that is a huge sigh of relief, Rachel,
yes,
on the Locomotive bench.
Duke certainly is. Everyone standing up, cheering, watching the goal back multiple times on the big screen. Can't quite believe what they saw right there. Really interestingly, guys, if you notice how quiet it was in Southwest University Park prior to that goal, that's because Eighth Notch decided they weren't going to cheer the first 45 minutes of this game, only stand for goals. Otherwise, they were sitting. Well, if you can hear and listen to it now, I think they've thrown that out the window because the drums are going, the chants are happening, and the flags are waving out here. That was supposedly in somewhat of a protest because they hadn't won a game in the past 2 months, but as I mentioned, that has all changed right now.
As Asante flag goes up on the Ghanaian.
It's a pretty good way to get the fans back on your side is take an early lead.
21st minute goal. Section 105 has life here in El Paso. Well, Mark Navarro pointing out they want to win for each other. They want to win for the fans. He feels the fans' pain, as does every member of the Locomotive squad. They want to give the fans something to cheer about. Certainly they did there. Navarro with a beautiful, beautiful bit of service to the far post.
When I asked him at this week's press conference, is it harder going through this stretch knowing what you're capable of? Because it's one thing to just have a bad season. It's another thing entirely to go 12 unbeaten and then all of a sudden have it turn the way it has. He said, yeah, it's frustrating because they know what they are capable of and they just have to find a way to win. So little things in some games that they can do better, but they have to be the ones that change the situation. And flip it, again, they know what they're capable of. They're capable of things like that.
Down to Rachel Phillips with more player reaction, and Yuma, I guess, weighing in on this as well.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Duke. Obviously, after that 5-0 loss, the mood was down, not only amongst the team, but around the entire fan base as well. And Yuma, the captain, actually took to Twitter saying, quote, "Talking now does not change anything about what happened. Where you have to talk and change the situation is in the field. I understand the concern of our fans, and that is why I apologize to each and every one of them," end quote. And obviously, Yuma not out on the pitch tonight, but he is one of the captains of this team, and what he says kind of echoes around the entire team. And you can tell that this team came out here tonight with a vengeance, not only to get a win for themselves, but a win for the fans.
El Capitan, a stand-up man, a fixture since the very beginning of Locomotive FC. Good service, in it comes the turn. Jack Blake pushing it up and over.
Speaking of Yuma, congratulations to him, Mark Novato, as well as Liam Rose, who are all fathers-to-be very soon, Duke.
What's in the water?
I don't know. Eric Calvillo earlier, of course, this year. Rachel, you want to weigh in?
Well, all I was going to say is that now we've got another Australian coming to the borderland, because Liam Rose has signed a contract to be here next year. So their baby's going to be born in El Paso, and that, to me, is pretty cool.
Will you be babysitting? That's what I want to know.
I don't think they would want to trust me with their kids.
I disagree.
Come on.
Completely disagree.
Come on. I mean, you know, feed it the Australian staples. Get them hooked on the Vegemite early, right?
Yeah, some Vegemite and Milo, some Tim Tams. I think maybe I have that covered.
Tim Tams.
What is Tim Tams?
That sounds like
unaware.
a candy. That sounds like something you would not feed a small baby.
Colin, I hope, yeah, look, you wouldn't feed a small baby it. Maybe I could, like, smash it up into tiny little bits, put it in the milk. But no, Colin, it's like the best chocolate biscuit you'll ever have in your life. I have about 4 packets in my fridge right now.
When you say biscuit, do you mean cookie?
Yes.
No.
My question.
Like, it is a biscuit. I don't know how to explain it. It's like a chocolate biscuit, but they go in the fridge.
Is it like a biscotti?
No.
Oh.
I will.
I'm thinking Girl Scout cookies.
If you guys are nice to me to the rest of the broadcast, I might bring you one next game.
No promises.
Okay.
You
Just
don't
kidding.
want to try
No
one?
Rachel jokes. No jokes about the Australian women's national team.
Uh-oh. I didn't say it.
Oh, he went there.
No cookies for Duke, cookies for Colin.
Cookies for
Swear,
Colin at this
put
point.
it on the board,
Oh,
please.
man.
Put it on the board. Look at a graphic. Who's getting cookies and
Well,
who's not?
I mean, we were talking before the match. Congratulations to the Australian women making it to the semifinals. Outstanding effort, and it has just gripped the entire country, all of Oceania. Rachel.
Yeah, it's completely united the nation. It's been a phenomenal thing to watch. The Matildas have just done a bloody phenomenal job getting all the way to the semi-finals. Obviously couldn't beat England, but you know, Sam Kerr had the best goal of the entire tournament, if I do say so myself. So we'll take that, and yeah, an incredible moment for Australia, and just so awesome to see so many fans get behind the Matildas.
Great effort here by Asante. Excellent through ball, but Budati, again, that pass is cut out, maybe a little too far. Budati having to reach it over. It is a throw-in for Indy 11. And we're seeing Indy 11 assert itself offensively now.
You can't fall asleep here with talks of Australian biscuits.
We'd love to fall asleep with Australian biscuits,
but El Locomotive can't.
Correct.
They cannot fall asleep with talk of Australian biscuits, unfortunately, and clearly haven't yet, as they have done a good job clearing this so far.
Benny Diaz clearly not listening to our conversation, and that's probably a good thing. McHugh.
Yeah, I would agree.
Good switch by Petrovic, or the idea anyway. It's going to go too long. And the turnover will give the throw to Indy 11.
So far, Duke, obviously one of our keys to victory for El Paso, keys to the game, was being comfortable without having possession of the ball. Indy, so far, 64% of it, just 36 for El Paso, but they do have the 1-0 lead. So far, through almost 30 minutes of play here, very comfortable.
Got an opportunity to speak with Mark Lowry, pitch side before the match. Wonderful to see the coach, who, as you would imagine, on a 2-match win streak, has not changed his clothing. That was something we all know very well.
Yes, he
here
would
in
not
El
change his
Paso.
outfits. He would
wash them, but not change them.
Yes, good. It's very hot here tonight.
Yes, it is. But of course, Mark Lowry in black.
Yep.
But saying when he landed, just getting a sensation that he has not felt since he left Birmingham, England. And that was that feeling of home. And just very touching to speak with the coach about that. Landing in El Paso, seeing the Franklin Mountains off in the distance. Feel that first blast of heat when you walk off the plane. It's home.
Right.
And he certainly felt that. He says this is, frankly, a little tough for him. He's got a job to do. He's going to do it. But heartfelt feelings from the Locomotive gaffer to begin their professional life here in El Paso, Texas. Rachel Phillips with more.
Yeah, guys, it's been 652 days since Mark Lowry walked onto the turf here at Southwest University Park on game day. The last time was a 1-0 conference quarterfinal loss to Oakland Roots. Just 10 days later, it was announced that Lowry would be leaving the Locos and joining Indy 11. Lowry built the Locos into a powerhouse, accumulating 42 wins, 19 losses, and 29 draws in his 3 seasons here, each of which he took the Locos to the playoffs. El Paso not able to make it last year without him, and things right now could go either way this season. A win against their former manager would go a long way, helping them get back into playoff contention where they currently sit, but it's a little shaky on if they stay there.
Asante, service in, tipped wide by the S-end. A good thing with Guinzotti and Blake both lurking.
Another good ball into the box. We talked about his service, right? That he has been a little bit more of a facilitator for this Indy 11 team. Certainly capable of that. Just as capable of that as he was of scoring all those goals in Phoenix. But on the Lowry note, I remember speaking with him the day it was announced that he was going to Indy 11.
Not cleared away. McHugh spins in the air. Locomotive trying to gain possession here. Good work by Rose and Kostashin to bleed it out to Miles Lyons. In a battle with Blake. Diaz will switch it out.
I remember speaking with him the day he left, and you know, sometimes there's moves you have to make for your career, but that doesn't mean it's an easy decision to make. He built the first 3 years of the team. Obviously, there's still players playing for Locomotive this year that were brought in by Mark Lowry. Miles Lyons, I think, was brought in as a 16-year-old. Chapa Herrera was given a chance by Mark Lowry. So it's not
Diego
an
Luna?
easy thing. For sure. There's decisions that you sometimes have to make for your job that are not always the easiest thing. So certainly I appreciate how much Mark Lowry still has that affinity for El Paso, which he was describing to you.
32nd minute, the caution issued to Zacariasu. One lost and fouled within about a 5-second span. Velasquez tackled off. Good job. Eric McHugh, who's looked pretty solid at center back.
We were worried about his legs coming in again. Seemingly now the most experienced center back on Locomotive's roster in his first season here. And worried just a little bit about the fatigue factor for him, but so far through 33 minutes has looked all right.
Dispe. Out to the right, Yunus Budari. Guinzotti. Service in, and in front of that is Petrovic. Good work to get back. Aaron McHugh, really, I think one of the keys defensively, Colin, for any kind of turnabout that Locomotive is going to have. You pointed out he's got the most experience now.
Certainly, and he needs to open himself up a little bit more on those clearances to have some outlets, so perhaps El Paso can kind of, again, clear the ball out of their space, number one, but two, maybe score off of them a little bit more frequently as well.
Also good to see the Spaniard, Jose Carrillo. So far, so good. Midway through the 34th minute, but here is Blake. Jumped up a little too far, and the Englishman puts it up and over.
Nottingham Forest is where he came up.
Back in the Premier League. Big 2-1 win over, who am I thinking of?
I missed it.
Yep.
I can't help you.
It was a 2-1 win.
Apologize.
I can tell you they won. I believe it was Burnley.
Let's check your math here.
Yes. Was home to two-time European Cup champion Nottingham Forest back in the 70s under Brian Clough. In the 80s, stalwart of the top levels of English football.
Sheffield United.
Sheffield United, the Blades.
Darn.
Missed it by that much. I can say that El Paso's 6 hours from anywhere.
True.
In England, throw a dart. You're going to hit a place with a football stadium. Corner kick here for El Paso. And as you might expect, it'll be Navarro. Whipped in. Back out again. Strike that. That is the Ukrainian, Denis Kostishin.
I'll take the blame for that. I was distracting you with talking Nottingham Forest.
And I was using my eyes instead of my binoculars. He looks tall down there. Kostishin floats one. That'll come to Petrovic, who can make some moves. Does so on Dispe. Nicely done. The Swede puts it across. Oh, an inviting ball. 3 players in blue in front. No one can make contact.
Love that, though, from Petar Petrovic, though. I mean, as you get a look at this on the replay, when he gets it on that left foot, right there, he is so dangerous in that open field. Just couldn't get a foot on the end of it.
He can't believe it, and neither can anyone else.
Oh, my goodness. Just through the wickets of Eric McHugh.
Any contact at all, and it's in the back of the net. Well won. On that right side, Miles Lyons. Locomotive holding its own tonight. It will go out for an Indy 11 throw, and here's Guinzotti.
A little more used to again, even with 3 road games, a little more used to the heat, a little more used to the altitude than Indy 11. Mark Lowry mentioned that in his press conference earlier this week, that is a challenge.
Long ball out of the back, the flag goes up for Blake. Don't miss a minute of the action in 2023, whether your club's on the road or at home. Nearly every second of USL Championship action is there for you on ESPN Plus, home to the USL, La Liga, the Bundesliga, UFC, and more. Sign up today at plus.espn.com. So we hit the 38th minute. Locomotive with the 1-0 lead. The goal from Eric Calvillo on a beautiful assist by Mark Navarro. Calvillo, the first-time header. And under pressure, Tim Trilk avoids Josue Aron Gomez.
Tricks having to fill in the last 4 matches due to an injury to their starting goalkeeper. Been pretty good. Had 2 clean sheets the last 2 matches out. Obviously allowing a goal tonight, but he has, as a backup keeper, given them a pretty good chance to win.
On the delivery. Trying to go long, and it is too long. Goal kick coming. If you can't watch the match, turn on SiriusXM FC, channel 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including the return of USL All Access. That's Tuesday nights, 5 p.m., starting June 13th. Plus, hear live matches from the USL, MLS, the Premier League, and more, all on SiriusXM FC, channel 157, and the SXM app. There you see Mark Lowry. Familiar sight just on the other side. Lowry leaning over the signage. shaking hands. It's been wonderful to watch him around Southwest University Park before the match. That one bounces well. Zacarias tries it first time. Dispe in the way again. Took some steam out of it, and that allows Indy 11 to possess and move it out of danger.
And no doubt the best chances, I think, have been for El Paso. Of course, the early one for Indy 11 where they probably should have been up, but they still, for El Paso, kind of have controlled the latter portion of the first half here.
That's a foul drawn by Dennis Kostashin. So we take a look before the match.
Oh.
Lots of homecomings. Mishak Jerome, Brian Rebellon, along with Aaron Gomez, Chapa Herrera as well. Great to see Mark Lowry having a moment with Chapa, the man he brought in. Came to an open tryout, impressed Mark Lowry so much he never left. Free kick here. Sent over the bar.
Yeah, that was
too hard for Kostashin.
Sorry, Duke. That was we kind of watched that happen when we were down on the field earlier today, and I'm glad that they got to embrace and just have that moment together. Mishak Jerome, actually, who you saw talking to Aaron Gomez with Brian Rebellon, when he was walking off the pitch after warm-ups, was having a conversation with the Banana Man down there. Having a little friendly back and forth.
Who doesn't love Banana Man?
He's a man and a banana. I mean, everybody loves it.
Exactly. Our friend Alex, one of the hardcore Locomotive fans here.
I asked his wife today if she might ever dress like a fruit. She said, banana, no, but we might get a kiwi.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
How about that?
I don't know what the aversion is to the banana suit for her. I can't speak to that. But she says kiwi, apple, something like that.
Well, you know, I mean, it basically shows off short shorts, and you got to go sleeveless, and it might tug in some uncomfortable places. Alex can pull it off. He certainly can.
Look at that.
Guys, Alex the Banana Man actually asked me if I was going for the orange look today. I could be an orange, he could be a banana, we could be a bit of a fruit salad. Say I'm in a bright orange blazer, and I told him that is exactly why I wore the orange blazer. So we're all in on the fruit game here. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe we do need Q. There she is. You do have an orange blazer.
It's given orange vibes. What can I say?
Yes. There we go. Galbillo to Petrovic. Locomotive on the front foot through the last few minutes from the byline. Petrovic lofts it over and trying to sky for that one, but not able to make contact as Lions push back in to the far post. Aaron Gomez wide. Another huge bit of service from Mark Navarro on that right wing.
Certainly been, in my opinion, the best player of the first half here for Locomotive. Everything he's doing defensively and then pushing forward, as we've seen all year long from him, and serving in these crosses. Almost an exact replica of the goal they scored earlier. Off the head of Eric Calvillo, just couldn't quite get the angle, could Aaron Gomez, to head it home.
Navarro on the turnover. Calvillo gets ahead to it, but an easy gather for Trick. But Locomotive finding some success here in El Paso. Chapman Page. Back to the Englishman. Another one from Nottingham. Sebastian Velasquez to Asante. That's a drag by McHugh. Asante wanting the foul, but the ball had already gotten away from him, at least as adjudged by our referee.
Duke, earlier we were talking about the distribution, the passing accuracy of Indy 11.
And here it comes. How about that bit of tracking back by McHugh? Guenzati was right there, and McHugh celebrates a little bit. Why not?
Deserves to. That was another sure goal. Great service over the top. Great feed in. Guenzati. I mean, that was going in the back of the net if not for Eric McHugh.
McHugh having himself a game, and just in the nick of time for Locomotive FC.
Had to be there, and he had to be perfect too, because if he attacks that in kind of any other way, could be looking at a penalty as well. So.
Well, Rachel Phillips, Eric McHugh has really been the force, and when he hasn't had a good game, neither has Locomotive. When he has, well, the results right now speak for themselves as we hit the 45th minute.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Duke. A massive play there from Eric McHugh, but being good on the pitch isn't the only thing he's good at. When I was at Spanish with the guys, all of us not from here were complaining about the food, specifically the bread in America, and supposedly Liam Rose has been missing bread so much that McHugh actually made him some from scratch. Yes,
What?
so he's a professional athlete, a baker, can play piano, and you know how he's learning Spanish? Well, yeah, he can also speak Swedish, English, obviously, and a bit of Chinese too. Liam said he's just one of those people who is good at everything, and for the Locos, thankfully tonight, he is also putting in one heck of a performance.
This is no shot at his abilities as a soccer player. His talents are being wasted here. His talents are being wasted here, Duke. We clearly need him being a rocket scientist or something. I don't know.
Absolutely. White Sands, are you listening?
Yeah.
Here's Asante.
His
Good work by Rose.
his post-football life could be quite interesting.
I was about to say, you know, life on the pitch isn't forever. Obviously, will be well-versed in whatever he chooses to do after life here on a soccer pitch. Blake, Asante, Velasquez.
I personally would just really like him to make me some bread too, because I also don't enjoy the bread in America, so that's kind of my request
All right,
right
so
now.
what's wrong with the bread?
Oh, where to begin, Colin? Where
We
to
got
begin?
3 minutes of stoppage time.
All right, I'll make it quick then. It just tastes fake and plasticky and not fluffy and beautiful like it should. That is probably the best way I can describe it.
Are you...
I don't even know where to start with that. How do
I don't know where to... I mean, you can buy other kinds of bread. They do make homemade bread.
They do.
Even at, you know, the big box stores,
It's
the
true.
large supermarkets.
Are you looking in the correct places?
Right.
What? Yes, of course I am. The only bread I eat here is like the sourdoughs. That's because that's the only one that is somewhat
That-
similar.
That is a favorite of mine as well.
Okay.
The other bread, no, I can't go near it. No.
Wow.
Have you
It
had?
tastes sugar. It tastes like it's got sugar in it.
Have you had
Probably
the
does.
Hawaiian rolls?
There we
No.
go.
Oh. Got something for you to try.
Okay, I'll give you Tim Tams. You give me Hawaiian rolls.
That will be a direct kick. Nope. Advantage played. Locomotive service to the far side. It's Petrovic. Work to do. Petrovic, the Swede, back and forth he goes. Sailed it across, but nobody in blue on the other end of it. The Swede has put in a shift as well tonight.
For sure, and without Lucho Soloniak, his one-on-one flair is certainly something that I think El Paso will need. Obviously, almost created a goal a second ago.
Tough tackle by Calvillo, and that's going to be a card on the El Salvador International.
He didn't like it. Wasn't happy about it, but
Blake. Certainly felt that. So Calvillo goes into the books here in stoppage time. A little bit more than the 48 minutes. For the 3 extra minutes as we take a look at downtown El Paso, off to the south and Ciudad Juarez.
beautiful.
It is a beautiful sight. You think about it, with a combined, it's the largest group of cities on the border, on the southern border in the United States. Roughly 2.5 million people live in this area. If we were all one market, we'd be bigger than Boston. Little shiftiness, open shot. Diaz spills it but gathers. They got what they wanted to Aiden Quinn, and that is going to be it for the first half. Locomotive on the strength of Eric Calvillo's goal and Mark Navarro's right leg lead this one 1-0 at the half. That is a great, great header by Eric Calvillo. Back with the halftime coming up right after this.
Finally done. Just need to put the batteries in. That came out of this box? He'll come in handy moving all the trucks on the lot.
Get $7,500 off MSRP plus 1.9% APR financing on all new 2023 Ford F-150 Lariat models.
Make your move and get into a new Ford today at Casa Ford. Home of the nice guys. Yeah!
Welcome back. Southwest University Park is the place. 1-0 is the score. Locomotive FC on the strength of Eric Calvillo's goal in the 21st minute. Beautiful, beautiful header. First time effort on Mark Navarro's excellent service has lofted Locomotive into the lead. As we take a look at beautiful San Jacinto Plaza and downtown El Paso from the sky here tonight. Let's take a look at the Western Conference standings. Locomotive still hanging on to that 8th and final playoff berth. It's Locomotive FC in the 8th spot. If they get the full 3 points tonight, they could vault up to 6th place if they get the win. But San Antonio FC, as of right now, has gotten ahead of Republic FC. 46 points for San Antonio to 45. Oakland Roots, solid season for them in 3rd, along with Orange County. They've really turned their season around. Loyal has sunk to 5th. Switchbacks FC in 6th. Phoenix Rising above the playoff line, and then Locomotive FC, followed by RGV, New Mexico, Monterey, and Las Vegas Lights. So there you see it, Locomotive FC. 32 points now, 35 would vault them into 6th position and over Switchbacks, pending other results over the weekend. As we take a look at storylines, Peter Knudsen, playing in the Danish Superliga, scored 10 goals in 34 appearances. He is the newest El Paso Locomotive player, the 25-year-old from the Faroe Islands. Played for them in UEFA European qualifiers this summer for his nation, and this is a great, great story. Jose Guetta from the U20 team receiving a scholarship. This is a young man whose mother passed away, had to leave the academy team and go to work to support his family. Jose Guetta from the U20 team received a scholarship to attend Northeast Texas Community College. There he is on your screen, the 6th academy player from this age group to receive a college scholarship. And there with his coach, congratulations to Jose Guetta, who will be playing college soccer. And that's part of what Locomotive's Academy is all about. What a wonderful story, and congratulations to Jose Guetta. And finally, don't forget to visit USLChampionship.com to vote in the weekly award categories. Team of the Week, Goal of the Week, Save of the Week, and more, all available for you on the league website, USLChampionship.com. 1-0 at the break. When we come back, highlights, stats, and plenty more here in the GECU Halftime Show.
Are you ready? Ready for more of the game you love? Ready for more players and more teams. Ready for more stadiums, for more fans in more cities. This is a different league. The USL Super League. Built for the future of women's soccer. Bridging the journey from youth to pro, connected to the global game, and bringing it all closer to home. Are you ready?
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
I mean, yeah, it's time about today when we go topics.
Roll it down.
I am.
You don't need a car to listen to Sirius XM. You can listen anywhere. You know that, right?
What? Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio.
Kevin, you could use your phone.
What? What?
Alexa, play Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio on Sirius XM.
What?
This is how I know you're getting old. I guess that was it.
What?
Here we are back at Southwest University Park in downtown El Paso. Look at the West Star building off in the distance. The Estrella on the mountains, the Franklin Mountains, as El Paso Locomotive FC leads Indy 11 1-0 at the break. Let's take a look at the play of the match thus far. It's Mark Novato serving up a beautiful cross for Eric Calvillo, who heads home the only goal of the match thus far. Petar Petrovic, nice little footwork there, and then Novato diamond it up. Calvillo, the flip, and then how about this? One more look at it. Is he going to rock the baby? Is he going to rock the baby? I bet he's going to rock the baby. There it is. Blowing kisses his son, Enzo, born earlier this summer. Rock the baby. What a celebration that is, as El Paso Locomotive leads 1-0 as we are at halftime. About 7 minutes left until we get underway with the second half here in El Paso.
El Paso, Casa Nissan's annual Sunday mega sale is back and bigger than ever. Get ready for a car show, food trucks, and hundreds of new and pre-owned vehicles that we must move. One-owner trade-ins, insurance recoveries, and lease returns. Get $11,000 off select new vehicles, all with Casa's lifetime powertrain protection plan. And pre-owns starting at just $995, like a Chrysler Pacifica for just $995, or a Nissan Titan for just $995. We're closed Saturday and open Sunday for Casa Nissan's Sunday mega sale event, starting at 10 a.m. this Sunday for 8 hours only. We got the deals, you get the wheels.
Welcome back, everybody. Locomotive leading Indy 11 by the score of 1-0 here at halftime in downtown El Paso. Duke, Keith, and Colin Deaver. As we take a look at our first half highlights, it has been favorable to Locomotive FC, Colin.
No doubt about that. And some issues in the back early for Indy 11 near it, getting revenge for the first goal that he missed.
Sebastian Velasquez puts that across. Golden opportunity for Guenzati, just couldn't connect. But what a magic wand of a right leg for Mark Navarro.
Over, I think, 275 minutes between goals for El Paso. It had been since late July, so they really needed that one. Nearly a second there is Petar Petrovic. Some great individual work. And then Eric McHugh, how about that, saving what would have been a goal.
Outstanding work as Indy has had their opportunities, but Locomotive has hung on defensively. They've done the job. It has been what you talked to Brian Clarehout about this week, cleaning things up at the back, and it was a point of emphasis in practice all week long.
When you give up 5 goals in your last match, it all has to start defensively. You can't do anything offensively without a good defense. So far, through 45 minutes, they've shored it up.
1-0 Locomotive at the break. Second half coming up in a bit. Welcome back, Southwest University Park, downtown El Paso, 1-0 Locomotive FC, as Locomotive, on the strength of that 21st minute goal from Eric Calvillo, leading Indy 11 and their old coach, Mark Lowry. As we take a look at first half stats, the shot accuracy, well, there you kind of have it. Total shots, 7 for both teams. Locomotive with the 1. The passing accuracy, Indy 11 doing Mark Lowry things, aren't they, Colin?
Yes, certainly. That's exactly what they want to do. Keep the possession, which are doing passing accuracy at 90%. It does, Duke, dip to 76% in Locomotive's half of the field. So speaks to the defensive shoring up that we discussed before the last break for Locomotive.
Locomotive will have first touch and headed toward 8th notch for the second half. On tap for you here from El Paso. Let's go to Rachel Phillips on the pitch. Rachel.
Yeah, Duke, Locomotive certainly looking more threatening as that half went on offense, but they just need to capitalize on those opportunities. They've got the 1 goal, but it's about keeping that lead now and getting their first win in 10 games. A big key to making sure they do that, keep getting the ball to Mark Navarro, who obviously had that assist for that goal, but he has looked special on the ball tonight, and you have to think those opportunities will keep coming if he has the ball at his feet. On the defensive side of the ball, well, they just need to stay firm and strong in the back. Eric McHugh made a massive save in that end of the first half, and that is really what the Locos need from their defense, is to put in a full 90 here tonight if they are to walk away with the win, guys.
You might have to give some Tim Tams to the entire team if the Locomotive is able to hold on.
Are they nutritious?
I don't know about nutritious, but hey, they might deserve a reward if they get a win tonight. So maybe
nice.
Liam Rose and I will have some talks about it.
Look, I'm saying Joe Golding, the Utah men's basketball coach, he has a full Red Bull cooler in his office at the Foster Stevens Center are Tim Tams somewhat like a Red Bull, where you could like use them as the same way Popeye uses spinach?
You could maybe use them as a motivator. Yeah, they're that good. They really are, I promise you.
Tim Tams, everybody's going to be researching this. Google Tim Tams. Alexa, Siri. Great service, Guenzati trying to get there. Well met at the back again by Eric McHugh. Liam Rose back there as well.
Duke, we've discussed on, I guess the last broadcast we did was almost a month ago, but things start well for Locomotive, and they did start pretty well tonight. Obviously, a 1-0 lead at halftime. It's when other clubs have made adjustments where they've struggled a little bit. So I'm curious to see how they kind of manage that. I would think Mark Lowry will make some adjustments at halftime. How does Brian Clairhout then counter that?
Jack Blake taken down again. This one a foul on Josue Aron Gomez. Free kick off the foul, that's headed clear. Good work at the back by Rose. And that is a rough challenge. Miles Lyons in the first yellow card of the match for Indy 11. We'll go to the other man from Nottingham. Chapman Page, Callum Chapman Page, into the book in minute 47.
He's familiar with getting booked here in El Paso.
Yes,
the last time he was here, 2020, the quarterfinals of the Western Conference playoffs, got a red card in what ended up being a classic match. Tulsa and El Paso going to penalties. And do we have the footage of this?
I think we do. Well, we'll see. We'll see if we can cue that up for you. Apparently, that's in the vault, so you may get to see exactly what Colin referenced. Flag is up. Oh, handball on Lions.
Here it is. Here it is.
Chapman Page.
Walking off.
Escorted off, and something tells me that water bottle's not going to last very long.
Just watching with bated breath. There you go. Stalking off the field.
It was adventurous. He did definitely disagreed with the call. Sky ball. Kostishin can't come down with it. Indeed, the water bottle did not survive contact with the side with the touchline.
Lost a good one that day.
Right. Dambrot on the throw in. That's taken by Kostishin, but he can't hang on. Guenzati, and a good strip again. Liam Rose. The 11 will have the throw. Aiden Quinn. Trying to center that one was Dambrot. Locomotive there again, Rose. His turn to put in a bit of a defensive shift for Locomotive here.
Haven't said Aiden Quinn's name very often tonight, but truly has been one of the best players in USL, really, history. 50 goals, 50 assists. Of course, we talked about that a little bit earlier. Has 8 goals on the season to, lead this club. Was with Phoenix last year, with Orange County from 17 to 2020. So just been a mainstay and has been solid this season for Indy 11. His first year at the club, but waiting to make an appearance tonight.
Of course, things can turn around in a hurry, as both Mark Lowry and Brian Clairhout know. It's all about getting into the playoffs and hopefully peaking at the right time. So, and you talked about this earlier, Locomotive has seen the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. This is a team through maybe the first 10 games of the season that was #1 in the league for weeks on end, as Benny Diaz is going to keep this one away from Guenzati. Flag is up anyway. But the 12-match unbeaten streak, now matched by a 10-match loss streak, or 10 with no wins, 9 with no wins for Locomotive. No points in the last number of matches, as here is a rattling effort just off the tip of the bar. Aron Gomez. You heard that kiss the iron a little bit.
Did. Certainly unfortunate there for Locomotive. It looks like, is that Liam Rose that's down on the pitch?
Liam Rose is injured. It'll be
took a
not
deflection.
to Ricardo Ruiz to come on out and take a look.
Interesting. Indy 11's players have been warming up for pretty much this entire second half since they came out of the locker room. El Paso's players, as Liam Rose went down, their entire bench just stood up to start warming up a little bit. Again, Duke, this is El Paso club that does not exactly have a plethora of available bodies due to injuries. So certainly hope it's nothing serious for Liam Rose here.
Up under his own steam. Let's take a look at Aron Gomez and his effort from behind the net.
Ooh. Trick was so nonchalant about it that we didn't really react. But that was much closer than he made it seem. He was just completely frozen, it appeared.
No courtesy dive from the keeper there. When you're very sure of your angles. Aron Gomez, they gave him the space. Rattles that one off the left post. Aiden Quinn, switch of play. No foul. Liam Rose, play on. Dispay a little upset. Liam Rose, I think he thought the whistle was coming, and it didn't. Play on.
Sitting and waiting.
Again, just touched in. That's all he needed. Guenzati with a beautiful bit of service from Blake. And that is why Jack Blake is so solid. Touched in to tie the match as we enter the 54th minute. Guenzati and Indy silent to this point, but just a little kiss. And the Uruguayan puts it home to tie the match.
Had some pretty good opportunities, have India 11, and just haven't been able to get on the end of them. Seba Velasquez to Guenzati in the first half comes to mind. But there you go. Kind of creating a little bit out of nothing, but the possession that they create with the system that they have, it does create opportunities like that to kind of happen as you lull the defenders to sleep. We saw that a lot during Mark Lowry's time with El Paso. You see it here. Unfortunately for El Paso, they're on the other side of it this time.
Ruining that Aron Gomez miss. If not, Petrovic, who has the ball again here. A beautiful toss across. That'll make it all the way through. Again, nobody in blue to pick it up. But here's Navarro. He'll score! Mark Navarro with a bullet! Indy's tie lasts all of a minute and a half. The Spaniard first time to restore the Locomotive lead.
We might have a new candidate for goal of the year, Duke. Ball gets through, falls to that man, Mark Navarro. Oh my
Baby
goodness.
on the way. So I'll take that back. It's 2 touches, and honestly, Trick will probably want to have that back. But
through his hands, but I mean, it is moving. It was moving. They launched off fireworks after that goal. Fireworks of their own, a rocket off the right foot of Mark Navarro.
Just on the stroke of the 55th minute, Mark Navarro giving Locomotive the lead. Here comes Indy 11 again. That is all the way across, and Benny Diaz has to tip it over the bar.
All right, let's go. We just turned this one up to 11, Duke. It's back and forth here.
Dan brought up the right wing, and Diaz had to handle it. It's a corner kick for Indy 11. So the corner coming as Cam Lindley fights through the fog. Whoa, Blake just missing. Great first-time effort from midair to twist that one. Let's head down to Rachel Phillips.
Guys, I wish we had a camera on the guys warming up on the sideline when Mark Navarro nailed that goal. There were a lot of hands over their mouths. There were hands over their face, just being like, what did I just witness? And that is Mark Navarro. I said it as we were coming right into the second half. Give the ball to Mark Navarro. He seems to have something special on his feet tonight, and that is exactly what you saw right there. A massive moment for this Locomotive team who are trying to get their first win in 10 games.
Coming on, Chaparrera to replace Liam Rose, so that knock apparently was a little more than just a distraction for the Australian.
Hopefully nothing too serious, but now Chaparrera gets his opportunity to play against the coach that, as you said, Duke, gave him his opportunity to play professional soccer to begin with.
That'll come all the way back for Chapman Page. Budati. Asante. It's another player we haven't talked about a whole lot lately either. But you know he can light things up in a hurry too.
Certainly can. He can burst onto the scene whenever he wants.
Service, Asante. That's headed over. Wenzati did touch it. Goal kick.
Navarro, as Rachel said, really making an impact on this game. Has the goal, also has assisted, obviously, as we talked in the first half, has assisted on their other goals. So his involvement has been really all over this match tonight.
So Liam Rose is off the pitch. Rachel with more downstairs.
Yeah, Duke, it was actually Carrillo who came off the pitch there. Liam Rose still out there, so it looks like Liam's moved back into that centre-back position, and they put Chapper up at that deep six there. So a bit of changes there in the back line. I know Liam has played defence before. He played it a couple games last year. He's also played it in Australia, so it's not an unfamiliar position for him, but certainly that back line, a couple changes there.
So Rose, and that is good news that he is still in the match. Navarro. Indy does well to gain possession, and here's Blake. 1 against 3, Chaparrera getting stuck in, but Blake fights it through. Excellent to Guenzati, but the flag is up. Benny Diaz out to meet it regardless. Let's take another look at Mark Navarro's strike. Into the far corner netting.
Let's have a go. Nobody stepped up to him. You might as well.
Absolutely whipped in.
Am I remembering correctly his goal at Louisville was from a similar angle?
It was from a similar angle. It was more of a, I think,
cross.
A cross that was not dealt with.
Yes.
Particularly well. That was with intent.
For sure.
It was an excellent dummy by Lucho that allowed that first goal in Louisville to get through. Just froze the keeper solid, and the ball trickled into the corner. Here's Navarro again. Fronted by Aiden Quinn. McHugh stepping in.
Navarro's the guy, Duke, that's been taking the free kicks when they've been outside the 18, so certainly strikes the ball with some accuracy, as we've seen with his crosses, and then the goal there too. So guy they trust from distance.
Indy 11 trailing by a goal again as we hit the 61st minute. And indeed, we have opened things up a little bit here at Southwest University Park. A warm evening, but no hydration breaks, not particularly scorching.
Speak for yourself. Not 112, you know,
Hey,
it's not
I was about to
112 this
say,
time.
right.
So.
It's not 105. 95 feels a whole lot better than
For sure.
105. We all speak from experience there in the Sun City. There's a reason they call it that.
Oh, yeah.
Here's Navarro sweeping action to get it up to Lyons. Lyons meets it, taps it over, but no one in blue. He was ahead of everyone, and Aron Gomez well dealt with by Dispe. Former Cuban international, happy to be in the United States after defecting.
Kid scored the winning goal for Indy 11 last week, and
Guenzati knocks it down, parried away by Diaz off of Blake. Blake flashing forward, Locomotive trying to counter.
great save from Benny Diaz.
Awkward cross, but Diaz is there, and Guenzati isn't. That ball makes it all the way across. Here is Herrera. Calvillo. Set down to Rachel Phillips for more on the sudden bit of scoring that we've seen.
The manic minute.
Indeed, a manic minute.
Ooh, I like the manic minute. Alliteration, Colin. And look, if you're a Locos fan, you won't like this, but if you're an Indy 11 fan, you're going to love this from your head coach and manager. So the ball goes out of play, goes right into Mark Lowry. He somehow manages to get his foot up, shows his soccer skills off, stops the ball, and is able to get it back to his team. And that is the play that they then scored off immediately. It kind of got lost in translation there because a minute and a half later, we saw the Locos score. It was kind of like, oh, Indy 11 scored, who cares? Locos back up in front, but that play from Mark Lowry.
Into the corner, parried away by Diaz. Chapman Page gets ahead to it, but Diaz makes a critical stop. And we see that service in from Solomon Asante. Very dangerous.
Dangerous indeed. Second save in a couple of minutes from Diaz to keep them in front. Had to be there. Parrying it away, but still in a dangerous zone here.
Low driving ball, skips through and in. Chapman Page on the end of that. Snuck through everybody. And we're tied again at 2. 64th minute goal by Callan Chapman Page.
He's going to remember his most recent visit to Southwest University Park a lot better than perhaps he remembers his last one. Of course, a red card the last one time out. Here, an equalizing goal. And mentioned, hey, Benny makes a great save to force the corner kick, but unfortunately, that ball probably shouldn't get through there, Duke. It bounces in between 3 or 4 members of Locomotive FC, right to Callum Page.
A little ball watching, a little Solomon Asante watching, because the Ghanaian made a move toward the ball. You've got to think if he gets on the end of it, something's going to happen. But Chapman Page wide open in the middle of the 6.
Let's see if El Paso holds serve here and scores within the minute.
Well, that's the way it would be written. Live action could be something different. Here's Dispe. Castician. Speaking of names we haven't called a lot, but here is the service to Zacharias. Here's the Ukrainian, lofts one.
He heard you.
His first attempt at goal. At one point led the team. But Locomotive, over the course of this 9-match winless streak, hasn't had a whole lot of shots. He led the league before. He is still second at 51.
Takes his fair share, but I think only 3 or 4 goals on the season for Constitution, so hasn't had the conversion rate that I think Brian Clairhout, Dennis himself might like. But again, you don't shoot, you don't score, so he'll fire him away.
Wayne Gretzky said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I think it was Gretzky.
Sounds good. Sounds good to me. I mean,
sure. Harrison Robledo checking in for Indy 11 along with Douglas Martinez. Robledo, a Colombiano. Douglas Martinez out of Honduras, former member of Sac Republic.
Second time he's been here this year. He was here for the season opener when Sac Republic was here.
We enter the 67th minute. Indy 11 has tied things up. Locomotive trying to play out of the back. And here's Petrovic to bring it down. Petrovic one-on-one with Budati. The Swede to the byline. Sends it across. Tipped wide by Trick. Lions can't get on the end of it. Still working. Last touched and it'll be a throw-in for Locomotive. Robledo did well enough to keep Lions off the ball. Calvillo. Navarro. Should point out that Sebastian Velasquez was subbed out to bring in Robledo. Wait and see what transpires here. With Locomotive's attack, we'll send it down to Rachel for more.
Yeah, Duke, Sebastian coming off. When he left the field, he actually kicked a water bottle up into the air, maybe a little frustrated that he wasn't able to make something more happen on his return to Southwest University Park. Yesterday, he tweeted out saying, quote, excited to be back in El Paso. Interesting to be on the other side of the locker room tomorrow, but this is a city I will always love. Not just anyone can adjust to live here, but I lived some of my best moments of my life here, end quote. And guys, you got to remember that just last year, after 11 years of playing professional soccer, Velasquez played a professional game for the very first time in front of his mum right here at the Swap. It may not be his home anymore, but it will always hold special memories. For him, couldn't get a nice memory to for his time here, maybe much to the Loco fans' thankfulness that he wasn't able to find the back of the net tonight.
Mark Lowry, service again from the bench.
Duke, when we were down on the field pre-match, watching Sebastian Velasquez walk back to the locker room and have 15 or 20 people yelling his name from his time playing here. Again, we talked about it earlier, what he meant to the city and the club, but they still love him here.
Guenzati. Robledo. Worked around Aiden Quinn. Chapman Page. Budati. Budati with a couple, escorted by Petrovic. All the way to the far post and off the side netting. Upset with himself. Robledo couldn't keep it on frame. Good bit of work by Indy 11 to work it around, though, and find the open man on the far post.
And they've, again, 2 goals in this half, but just other than that, they've looked very dangerous this entire half line. I think 8 of their 13 now shots have come in this second half. Reminiscent of what I remember, Duke, about Mark Lowry's time here, when Locomotive would be trailing at home, just how they would push bodies forward in the final 20 to 25 minutes to try to get an equalizer, try to get a go-ahead goal. You're seeing that from Indy 11, it appears.
Here's Guenzati. Seemingly involved a lot more, I think, in Indy's buildup. After scoring his goal. Budati through all the way up and rolled in for the 3rd goal. Douglas Martinez 3-2 Indy 11.
The substitute coming on, like I said, his second appearance in El Paso for Douglas Martinez, and he may have just netted the game winner with still 20 minutes to go, but what a ball there. Diaz had a foot on it, but it sneaks in.
Great service from wide, Diaz off the top of his boot, and he'll be disappointed. I think he would like to have that one back as Trickwood on Navarro's goal. Cue the celebrations. The visitors have stormed back to take a 3-2 lead, and the crowd falls silent here in El Paso.
And unfortunately for Locomotive, an all too familiar position now they find themselves in, trying to fight back and get another goal. During that 12-match unbeaten streak, Duke, we talked about that as kind of a positive, right? How they always seem to find a way back. They have not been able to do that during this 9-match winless streak. Maybe this is the night they bust out of it.
Points from losing positions. It's something Locomotive dominated in the USL Championship in the early going. Here's Martinez. That's an excellent effort to fight through just to get on the ball by Liam Rose. It'll be a corner kick, but Rose not taking chances.
So now 42 goals allowed this season by El Paso, which is tied for the worst mark in the Western Conference.
Well, Locomotive had done so well in the first half, but the later the games have gone, honestly, the worse it's gotten for Locomotive. They've had their problems at home in terms of earning points. That's lofted in, dealt with by Locomotive. Up and over, Chapman Page offside and has to let it roll through.
Still just the one substitution for El Paso, of course, being Chaparrera. So something in the chamber potentially for Brian Clearhout to use to try to get that equalizer in this final 18 minutes.
Dispay is down and he is hurt. Let's go down to Rachel Phillips.
Yeah, guys, after that goal scored from Indy 11, really interesting players, very slow to walk back to the halfway line. Assistant coach John Burko was actually yelling at the team. He was saying, I know. He could see their shoulders were down and kind of put his shoulders back to emphasize, put your shoulders back, play with purpose. Yes, we had the lead, now we don't, but it doesn't mean this contest is gone from us. And speaking of this contest not being gone, and kind of, Colin, what you were touching on, El Paso about to make some substitutions here to try and equalize things, and if not, get the win. Manny Sinupe about to come on. I've also seen Diego Abarca put his jersey on, but he's got the green singlet back over. Nick Hines about to chuck a jersey on too. So it looks like there's going to be a few substitutions here from El Paso right now.
So it will be Emma Sinupe on for Ricardo Zacarias. So we take a look again at Dispay and the contact. Put him on the turf. He's still looking for a card. And saying Ricardo Zacarias might have left a little extra in there.
Perhaps.
So Sinupe will come on to replace Zacarias. Nick Hines about ready to come on as well.
Dennis Castician, so Hines will come on for. Sinupe for Zacarias.
Hines for Castician, and obviously with both Hines and Sinupe in, looking for some speed in the wings. Trying to stretch the Indy back line. Indy 11 has come all the way back twice now to retake the lead, or to take the lead in El Paso. Locomotive will escort that out for the goal kick. 15 minutes plus stoppage time for Locomotive to try and make something happen in front of the home crowd. Long ball out of the back. Chapman Page is there. Gambrot worked around. Here's Lindley. Aiden Quinn knocked forward. Martinez a little harmless. Nick Hines' first touch. McHugh to Navarro. Great switch of play. Hines with it. Well fronted by Budati. Gets it wide. Plays it into the middle. Indy 11 will play it safe for the corner kick.
Hines doing, what he's come on to do, and that's create chances. He creating the corner kick there for El Paso.
And it'll be Petrovic urging McHugh to get to the front. Locomotive will crowd the 6-yard box. Too many bodies. Petrovic, tight swinging and all the way over. Wanting to find Hines, who was set up on that far post, but a little too tall for the Floridian.
Hines kind of snuck in behind there. McHugh, I think on purpose, was taking quite a bit of the attention there, but Hines able to sneak in the back. Almost got his head on it.
In the end, solid defense by Robledo.
No doubt.
Trick urged to play the ball by Gerald Flores, our match ref. Flag is up, offside. Restart coming for Locomotive. Paso. Liam Rose playing up a little bit, can't hang on to it. Good double team by Indy 11 and the outlet to Martinez. Leon Duran from the corner. Takes it in. They want the foul, play on. Benny Diaz to cover. Clearly Martinez trying to draw contact. That gets away from Calvillo. Turned over. Guenzati. Lindley. Indy content to take the air out of things as we're into the 79th minute.
This is really what they do well, Mark Lowry clubs.
Guenzati, beautiful through ball, and Diaz with an important save. Out of the back, what a ball from Robledo. And Guenzati right underneath it, just played it to space, and Guenzati with the body to hang on and make sure he's around. Benny Diaz had to come on and make a stop.
So again, like we said, that's what they want to do. They want to keep the possession, kind of lull you to sleep, but they will take a look at goal if they can, if they have the opportunity to do so.
Guenzati, a Benny Diaz save away from a brace and the dagger. Here is the corner kick. In the 80th minute, they'll play it short. Robledo. The outlet. Hines trying to get there. He'll play some keep away. Quinn. Robledo. Quinn plays it right to the feet of awaiting Chap Herrera.
Duke, the man, of course, who right now has the game-winning goal in this match, Douglas Martinez, coming over from Sacramento Republic earlier this year, and that's something Mark Lowry likes to do. He likes to bring in players mid-season, switch things up till he gets the team the way he wants it. We saw that here with Locomotive. Douglas Martinez, part of the late season surge that Indy currently is on.
Well done by Petrovic. Locomotive weaving their way around the edge of the area, looking for something more meaningful inside. Hines serves one. It'll be out for a corner kick.
And that's what they have to do, dude. Just start throwing bodies into the box, balls into the box, just as many opportunities as you can in these next 10 minutes.
Budati playing safe, puts it over the byline, and here is Petrovic. Calvillo set up in case they want to play short. Petrovic will knock it to the far posts. Foul in the box on El Paso. It's Hines and Trick getting tangled, and a free kick for Indy 11. Who will be content here.
Yeah, the last time he had a goal kick, he took plenty of time to the point that our center referee had a chat with him. So we'll see if he pushes it to that level this time.
Gerald Flores having his ear bent by Cam Lindley, and I would imagine that's to allow Trick to take a few extra seconds here. All those experienced players, it's another thing about Mark Lowry. He loves those who've proven themselves on a professional pitch. And Indy 11 certainly stacked with those.
And that's how he, those first couple of years in El Paso, really built them into that Western Conference, finalist contender. What you just said, Duke, it's getting players like Dylan Maris, getting players like Omar Salgado to come in here and kind of build your culture. And last year it was a little bit tougher for Mark because it wasn't exactly a team that he could build on his own in Indy as he did with the expansion franchise in El Paso. But this year, a little bit more hands-on.
Great through ball from Petrovic to Hines, tripped in the edge of the box. Our referee says, stand up, young man. Gerald Flores not going for that. The ball over the byline and another goal kick coming.
We get a look at it.
Yeah, Aiden Quinn goes down, but he was already on his way back up.
Yep.
Doesn't really touch, does get some contact, but Gerald Flores saying that Hines was playing for the contact. We should say Aiden Quinn didn't even touch the ball.
No. Brian Clairhout, somebody on the bench just got a yellow.
Remonstration with the fourth official, Drew Player, calling over our center referee, Gerald Flores, to issue the caution to El Paso's head coach. It was John Burklow who gets the yellow card, not Brian Clairhout.
Burklow still pleading his case a little bit here.
So contact was made. Aiden Quinn did go down, but then Hines runs onto it. Regardless of what you think, Aiden Quinn never touched the ball. Down to Rachel Phillips for more on this.
Yeah, guys, we saw Burklow obviously get the yellow card there. Interestingly enough, and good thing for the Locos, it wasn't a red card, but if it were to have been a red card, it really is an interesting stat that only coaches for the El Paso Locomotive have got red cards this season.
Indeed.
El Paso are one of the only 2 teams in the entire league who has not got a red card, at least when we look at players. Obviously, Brian Clairhout getting a red card just a couple of weeks ago and having to sit on the sidelines last week.
And Chris Garcia about ready to enter the match. Locomotive making a last-ditch effort to get something out of this one.
Stefano Pino just came in for Solomon Asante as well for Indy. My apologies.
No worries. Chris Garcia in for Aaron Gomez, who as usual has put in his shift tonight. That's coming up. Robledo still with it at the edge of the box. Quinn Back from Lindley. Coming in here is Dambrot. Dambrot still with it. Dambrot taken down. It's a good effort by Navarro. And maybe similar to what we saw on the other side. Oh, a rash challenge from Aron Gomez as he takes down Aiden Quinn after Quinn fouled him.
It wasn't given. I'm a bit surprised that Gomez didn't get a card there.
Yeah, me too. Referee Gerald Flores on to deal with an injury. Indy 11 has a player down in their own area, or in the El Paso box.
Gomez, of course,
Dambrot
coming off anyways right now as Garcia comes on.
And Aron Gomez will take the long walk. Chris Garcia on for him, and maybe he knew what was coming and decided to get his before he left the pitch.
Potentially, yeah.
That was dangerous. Aron Gomez frustrated this evening. He's on the pitch as he walks off to the other side.
Taking his time.
Now off behind the line, but he's walking right on the edge of the goal. Navarro whips it across, the long cross for Petrovic. The Swede back to Hines, and Petrovic again. As we cross into the 88th minute. Looking for Chaparrera, well dealt with in the middle by Robledo. And they're off and running. Martinez, Robledo ahead of him. In the middle is Pino. Just taken away. Solid work by Calvillo. Garcia can't handle that, and it'll roll out for an Indy throw. The Locomotive just trying to make something happen, but
well, Chris Garcia, I mean, you have to handle that there. He knows it.
The El Paso native, good to see him this Thursday as the UTEP soccer team opened its season.
Was he out there?
He was there.
Oh.
A native El Pasoan. Probably knows more than a handful of the players. That's going to be a foul on Chaparrera as he takes down Pino. And in the 89th minute, Locomotive right now their own worst enemies. Lindley. Guinzati, who keeps playing further and further back. I keep seeing him get touches in the midfield. He's the target man, but as Indy 11 has taken the lead, has dropped further and further behind. And Claire Hout.
I think Guinzati's totally fine with that at this juncture of the match. 89th minute, up 1.
Indeed.
They're just trying to see it out.
Navarro will try to steer wide of Pino. Tosses it into the middle. Aiden Quinn, the only one there. Good job by Garcia. Solid effort. Garcia trying to get there. Sanupe. Chapman Page makes sure it goes no further. And here is Budari. Martinez. And a foul will be called against Hines. Our understanding of this, there will be 5 minutes of stoppage time, but now an opportunity for Martinez and Indy to milk the clock a bit.
Well, he was doing exactly what you're taught to do, take it to the corner in a late situation like that. And now they can, like you said, milk even more clock with the foul. Sounds like Petar Petrovic might be asking for a little more added time based on the time that Indy has taken off here.
5 minutes is the call. Of course, the final verdict on that is going to be Gerald Flores'. 5 minutes of stoppage time on the clock. Locomotive with possession, trying to find some purpose in it. That ball's not going to get anywhere close to where Liam Rose wanted to send it. And the foul earned by Robledo. And Mark Lowry will milk a little more clock and bring on a couple players familiar to El Pasoans on the next break. Brian Rebellon and Mishak Jerome.
Be Rebellon's first action in a long time, I think since June, as he dealt with an injury.
Brian Rebellon always took more contact than any player around. Nothing's changed with his time in Indy. Here's Lindley. Second minute of 5 added. Chapman Page out to Dambrot. Played into space and Navarro will fill it. Long out of the back, Diaz. Petrovic knocks it into the middle. Nobody in blue on it. Aiden Quinn. Chapman Page. Like a bit of a mishandle. Here is Dispe. Third minute of 5 added. Locomotive desperately trying to find something here. It'll be a shirt pull on Robledo, and here come the substitutes. For Indy 11, onto the pitch, Brian Rebellon and Mishak Jerome. Guenzati, one of the players coming off, along with Dambrot. Both have run their race. As the former Locomotive FC center back and wing make their way onto the pitch for the visiting Indy 11.
And certainly a job to do for them, those two, but obviously that those two selected as a nod to their time here.
And Mark Lowry acknowledging his time as well, I think. Chris Garcia. Navarro, the back heel. Chaparrera curls in. Sends it back to the Spaniard trying to get loose. That's a great challenge by Rebellon. The Colombian puts it out for a Locomotive throw. The fourth of 5 added minutes. Petrovic. Indy 11 knows to keep an eye on the Swede. Locomotive finding no entrance. Indy 11 with 8 players in the back. Here's Garcia to make a run. Nice cut. Can he control it? Tripped up. That will be a direct kick as he's taken down by Chapman Page.
I think they're giving a corner, actually. Or no, is it?
No, it's a direct kick.
There you go. No, it is. They are going corner kick.
My goodness. Okay. Well, it is a corner. Chapman Page making contact with it. Big effort here, and Calvillo will be the one to send it in from the corner. Into the final minute of 5 added. Calvillo punched away by Trick. Still live, headed back and over for a corner by Mishak Jerome.
Bodies flying around in the box there.
What is surely one of the last plays of the match. Petrovic will come over to take this. Petrovic whips one into the far post, punched out by Trick. Still moving, and over the byline again. Another corner and an injured player for El Paso.
It's Liam McHugh who went down. I don't know if he collided heads. Excuse me, Eric McHugh. Going out of the corner for El Paso. They'll get another shot, Duke. Benny Diaz coming down.
Has to be the last kick of the match. Calvillo to the far post, headed out of trouble by Jerome. Mark Lowry said it was tugging at his heart to come to El Paso and have to play against this team he helped build. Hasn't stopped him from doing his job. 3-2, Indy 11 with the come from behind win tonight.
Very familiar for Mark Lowry, a victory at Southwest University Park. He knows the feeling well.
Indeed. Discussions after the match for Locomotive FC. Eric McHugh, Benny Diaz pleading their cases to no avail. 3-2 your final score. Indy 11 coming back from deficits twice and then taking the game-winning goal. 3-2 your final score. We'll be back to wrap things up from Southwest University Park after this. Welcome back to Southwest University Park. Full match stats as Locomotive falls to Indy 11 3-2. 4 goals in the second half, Colin Deaver.
Yeah, an electric second half. So much fun as Indy 11, Duke, really turned the tide in that second half. Unfortunately for Locomotive, that's been the story of this season in a lot of ways for them, is how well they played in first halves and conversely how things have turned for them in the second half of matches. Indy 11 came in to the into the half with only 5 shots, none of them on target. You look at that now, 9 total shots and ended up with 7 on target. I think 16 in the match overall, Duke. But yeah, completely flipped the script, and it was the substitute Douglas Martinez coming on and getting the winning goal.
66% possession for Indy 11 in the first half. Locomotive 54.5 as we send it down to Rachel Phillips with our Estrella of the match.
Locos fans, I'm joined by your Estrella of the match, Mark Navarro. Now, Mark, it was not the result you guys wanted. Now 10 games in a row without a win and 5 games in a row that you have lost. But from my perspective, it was certainly a gutsy effort from you guys, a lot of hustle out there. Was that kind of the best performance you'd seen in the last few weeks from you guys?
Hello. Yes, I think today we start really good. We start winning the game. The first part, I think we do what we want. But I don't know what happened when we are winning. We go down because we want to win, but they score goals and like this is impossible. No, I think we have to improve our defense because we have to win games.
From an individual perspective, it was a phenomenal game for you. You were involved in both of the scoring chances from the Locos, the assist to Eric Calvillo, and then the goal from you itself. That is one of the most beautiful goals I've ever seen on this pitch. What did you see on that play?
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm happy then can help the team with goals or assists, but I really want is win the games, and you go maybe strange because you think you score, you did assist, you feel good like this, but what you want is win the game. So I think we have to improve something, because I hope the next week we can win and stop these games.
For yourself, after you scored that goal, it was kind of a beautiful moment. You announced during the week that you and your partner are going to be having your first child together. You put the ball underneath your shirt. Yes. What was that moment like for you?
Yeah, it's really exciting because I'm gonna have a baby with my wife, and I'm so happy then can do this celebration, and I'm too happy because my family comes here from long travel from Spain. They are here in the pitch, and I want to say thank you for this, and with the goal I want to show this.
That's a pretty special moment for you, Mark. And just finally, I've got to touch on, obviously, a lot of fans here at Southwest University Park cheering you guys on tonight. It's been a rough stretch, but what do you want to say to them for coming out each and every week and supporting you?
Yes, I want to say sorry because I know they want to see us winning. I don't know what happened, but I promise them we want to change the situation, we want to try, we want to improve, and what we want is just win and feel then they are happy, and I want to say they thank you for coming, and I hope they supporting us more.
Yeah, you can hear them cheering right now. They definitely are going to keep supporting you. Mark Navarro, your Australia of the match. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Rachel. And to Mark, he promised he'd do an interview in English.
He did. Congratulations to him and his wife.
Absolutely. That's tremendous as we see a replay of all 4 goals in the second half. Jack Blake starts things for Indy 11. Sebastian Guinzati there on the end of that service to tie it. That's in the 53rd minute. But then Mark Navarro, 2 minutes later, minute 55, with an absolute rocket, too hot to handle for Trick. But then it was Callum Chapman-Page on the service from the corner. It gets all the way through. All he had to do was touch the ball. And then Douglas Martinez with the match winner to give Indy 11 the come-from-behind win and all 3 points that'll move them up in the Eastern Conference. Locomotive stays 8th in the Western, pending other results this weekend.
And obviously that's now 10 winless for El Paso, 5 consecutive losses, 6 in their last 7. But I think, Duke, some positives that you do take out of this, if your Locomotive, is you finally get in the score sheet again, and you fought back. You battled a couple of different times, so maybe that can carry them into the next match for Indy 11. They just keep on cruising the way they have been.
Hartford Athletic is next. Our Brian Birds moving into the next match. Brought to you by the Brian Birds home selling team. For Colin, for Juan, for all of our gang here in El Paso, our thanks for you to watch today. I'm Duke Keith. So long, everybody.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.
But it is a corner kick. No, it's a goal kick. Let's see. Offensively. But a set piece here for Indy 11. Whipped in. All the way through. Trying to touch it down. Benny Diaz did enough to get in the way of Robbie Dambrot. But it is a corner kick. No, it's a goal kick. Let's see. Offensively. But a set piece here for Indy 11. Whipped in. All the way through. Trying to touch it down. Benny Diaz did enough to get in the way of Robbie Dambrot. But it is a corner kick. No, it's a goal kick. Let's see. Offensively. But a set piece here for Indy 11. Whipped in. All the way through. Trying to touch it down. Benny Diaz did enough to get in the way of Robbie Dambrot. But it is a corner kick. No, it's a goal kick. Let's see. Quick corner here. Lofted over. Easy grab for the US. Off the try by Aiden Quinn. Long ball out of the back and ready to run under it. Quick corner here. Lofted over. Easy grab for the US. Off the try by Aiden Quinn. Long ball out of the back and ready to run under it. Quick corner here. Lofted over. Easy grab for the US. Off the try by Aiden Quinn. Long ball out of the back and ready to run under it. Quick corner here. Lofted over. Easy grab for the US. Off the try by Aiden Quinn. Long ball out of the back and ready to run under it. Quick corner here. Lofted over. Easy grab for the US. Off the try by Aiden Quinn. Long ball out of the back and ready to run under it.
In the season to start out, things are not looking great. All of a sudden, you get a win. Here we go.
Indeed, and it's just wide. Looking for contact. Calvillo had to be covered by Callan Chapman-Page, but did enough.
In the season to start out, things are not looking great. All of a sudden, you get a win. Here we go.
Indeed, and it's just wide. Looking for contact. Calvillo had to be covered by Callan Chapman-Page, but did enough.
In the season to start out, things are not looking great. All of a sudden, you get a win. Here we go.
Indeed, and it's just wide. Looking for contact. Calvillo had to be covered by Callan Chapman-Page, but did enough.
In the season to start out, things are not looking great. All of a sudden, you get a win. Here we go.
Indeed, and it's just wide. Looking for contact. Calvillo had to be covered by Callan Chapman-Page, but did enough.
In the season to start out, things are not looking great. All of a sudden, you get a win. Here we go.
Indeed, and it's just wide. Looking for contact. Calvillo had to be covered by Callan Chapman-Page, but did enough. Head over the top of defenses. The Spaniard has been a stalwart and delivers another quality ball to Gomez. In the box, fires it just wide. The Locomotive starting to ask some of those questions anyway.
Speak of the devil, he shall appear. Mark Novato, as Duke was talking about it, depositing one of those balls over the top. Gomez, who
over the top of defenses. The Spaniard has been a stalwart and delivers another quality ball to Gomez. In the box, fires it just wide. The Locomotive starting to ask some of those questions anyway.
Speak of the devil, he shall appear. Mark Novato, as Duke was talking about it, depositing one of those balls over the top. Gomez, who
over the top of defenses. The Spaniard has been a stalwart and delivers another quality ball to Gomez. In the box, fires it just wide. offensively. But a set piece here for Indy 11. Whipped in, all the way through, trying to touch it down. Benny Diaz did enough to get in the way of Robbie Dembrat. But it is a corner kick. No, it's a goal kick. Let's see. Offensively. But a set piece here for Indy 11. Whipped in, all the way through, trying to touch it down. Benny Diaz did enough to get in the way of Robbie Dembrat. But it is a corner kick. No, it's a goal kick. Let's see. Offensively. But a set piece here for Indy 11. Whipped in, all the way through, trying to touch it down. Benny Diaz did enough to get in the way of Robbie Dembrat. But it is a corner kick. No, it's a goal kick. Let's see. Offensively.